What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about why the most successful men are chivalrous. Now there is a certain group of people that disagree with this 100% because they think that chivalry is dead or they don't even know what it means. So let me go ahead and define this real quick. Chivalry is the conduct or behavior expected of a knight towards his lady or ladies. The code of chivalry was a medieval knightly ideal of behavior, including courtesy, generosity, courage, loyalty, and protection of the weak. Alright, so you got it. You got the definition of the word. Let us talk about how this applies to you as men, and especially in the dating society today. Alright, first off, let me start by saying this. Being chivalrous does not make you any less of a man. In fact, the opposite is true. Chivalry is a sign of a man with character, high morals, good judgment, and emotional maturity. A man who is not chivalrous is a man who has none of those things I just mentioned. He is a man who lacks self-control, who's selfish, who's only thinking about himself, and he can't empathize with others around him. The lack of chivalry is actually what makes someone a complete douchebag or a jerk. It's simple as that. A lot of women say they don't want a man who opens doors for them or walks on the streets on the outside close to the road. That's nonsense. That's something she's probably used to hearing from guys that don't really mean it. For example, "Oh, I don't need you to open the door, blah blah blah." What that woman is really saying is, I don't need you to open the door for me because I have never had a man in my life open the door for me. I don't need you to walk on the street on the outside of the sidewalk because I have never had a man in my life do that for me. She's never experienced a man with real character. But the reality is that these women crave these gestures. They want to be protected. They want to be cared for. And when you demonstrate these actions, it's attractive as hell. One of the biggest complaints I hear from men is that they complain about women nowadays wanting too much. Women want this. Women want that, blah blah blah. It's just an excuse used by the man who doesn't understand what women truly want. Women want a man who can lead, not a man who tries to convince himself that he's equal to her. Look, I'm all about equality, but there are certain things that men should do, certain actions that they should take because they're the leader, because they're the man. If you're out on a date with a woman and you get to the end of the restaurant and you're both standing up, and she's sitting there and you don't offer your hand to help her up, well then you just lost all your points for the night. Most men would think that they gained some kind of cool points for acting like they don't care, but the reality is that they lose all their points for being self-absorbed and selfish. And this applies to every other part of the relationship as well. Look at it this way. If you and your girl are going out to a nice Italian restaurant and you both dressed up looking good, and you pull up and you see that there are 2 seats available, one on the inside and one on the outside. Which one are you going to choose? The one on the outside next to the road is more dangerous, right? So it's your job as a man to protect your woman. You choose the seat on the inside away from the road, right? Now, if you were to ask her, "Hey, where do you want to sit?" She'd probably say, "Oh, I don't care," right? She'd probably say, I don't care, because she has never had a man in her life that she could trust. Never had a man who could lead and take control, because most guys nowadays are. So if you were to choose the outside seat next to the road, she would automatically think that you're weak and useless. You would lose tons of points. Men who display this type of chivalry aren't seen as weak by women. They're seen as strong, protective, caring, loving, and attentive. These are the exact qualities women are searching for in a man. Now, on the other side of the coin, if you're on a date with a woman and you guys are getting along great, everything's going smooth, you're having fun, you're laughing, you're talking, you're flirting, everything is going amazing, it's going great. And you feel that connection, that spark. She's beautiful. You want to tell her how beautiful she is. So you say something like, "Wow, you look beautiful tonight. Wow, you're so beautiful." Do you know what most guys will do? They'll follow that up with, "But you look even better without makeup." Oh yeah, you look even better without makeup? And that is a huge turnoff. What you just did was show no emotional control. You showed that you can't handle a woman's beauty. That's why you tried to downplay it by saying, "Oh, you look even better without makeup." Why would you ever say that? Guys do that because they're insecure. They re-comparing her to all the other women they've dated in the past, and they re-trying to rank them. Listen, if a woman is beautiful and she's made up, she's still beautiful without makeup. So why would you ever say that? You should have followed up with, "I love seeing you all dressed up like this. You look amazing. I love it." Keep the momentum going. Don't bring her down. This is another thing that you will see a man with no chivalry do. The modern woman wants a man with chivalry because it shows that you're able to handle your emotions. You're mature. You're confident, and you're not threatened by her beauty. Every time you encounter a beautiful woman, you don't try to downplay her beauty because you're secure. You know who you are. You know what you're worth. You don't need to put other women down to raise yourself up. These are the qualities that women are attracted to. Now, if you happen to be one of those men who think that chivalry is dead or unnecessary, I want you to think about this. Why is it that you think that way? Why do you think it's dead? Because you haven't experienced a man with real character, and you haven't had a woman who really appreciates it. Once you've had both of those things, once you've experienced a real man and a real woman, you will realize that chivalry is not dead. It's alive and well. And the most successful men in the world use it all the time. I want you to think of a successful man that you know. Think of a successful man that you admire. And I want you to think about how that man acts, how that man behaves, especially around women. You'll notice that they're always chivalrous. They're always opening doors. They're always walking on the outside of the road. They're always protecting the woman. Why? Because they know it's their job to do that. They know that that's what leadership looks like. Listen, I'm not telling you to be fake. I'm not telling you to put on a facade. I'm telling you to be yourself. Be the best version of yourself. The most successful men in the world are chivalrous. The most successful men in the world have high morals, high character. They're emotionally mature. They know how to control their emotions. They know how to treat women. And they know what leadership looks like. Chivalry isn't dead. It's alive and well. And the most successful men use it all the time. So with that being said, until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye.